Amelia leaned in slightly, her lips brushing my jaw in a fleeting kiss. "Just a short trip with the girls," she murmured, her smile polished and practiced, one she'd worn so often it had become automatic. I gave a silent nod, my eyes following her as she wheeled her suitcase toward the exit. She thought I believed her lie. Imagined me patiently waiting for her return. She was mistaken. The moment the door clicked shut behind her, I finally released a breath I hadn't even realized I'd been holding for weeks. A suffocating weight lifted from my chest. The signs had been there, undeniable if subtle. Late-night texts she no longer cared to hide, the way she went the extra mile with her appearance on particular days, and the unfamiliar scent that clung to her clothes, one that certainly didn't belong to me. Those girls' nights and late work meetings always seemed to line up perfectly with those little clues. Amelia hadn't been careful, not because she didn't know how, but because she didn't think she needed to be. That was her biggest mistake. I hadn't needed to hire a private investigator. No trackers. No spying. All I'd done was pay attention to her words, her stories, and how they stopped making sense. This wasn't some innocent getaway. She was headed to a high-end resort, 3 states away, to meet him. And she had no idea I already knew. Even less so that I'd been preparing my exit in silence. I opened the app on my phone, the one where I'd tracked every part of my plan. My finances safely moved. Transfers rerouted. Joint accounts closed. My name taken off the lease. Every bill, every service, every shared subscription, now solely in her name. She wasn't coming back to find just an empty apartment. She was coming back to find a life that no longer included me. I moved through the place slowly, methodically. My wardrobe, everything from dress shirts to old hoodies, including the one she always borrowed, was packed. In the bathroom, I collected my razors, cologne, the extra toothbrush she never touched. In the kitchen, I cleared my side. Snacks, spices, coffee. Even the espresso machine she used religiously, it was mine, and it came with me. Half the furniture was already gone, the pieces I'd bought. The TV, gaming setup, everything I owned had been neatly packed or moved in advance. The apartment looked empty, lifeless, like a model home staged for showings. Nothing personal, nothing real. A quick glance at my phone showed her latest post, a check-in at the Ocean Breeze Resort. She looked carefree, blissfully unaware of the collapse waiting for her at home. I placed the apartment key on the kitchen counter, gave the space a final look, and left. No note, no explanation, no drama, just silence. She had assumed she could lie and still come back to the comfort of the world I'd built. Believed I was too loyal, too rooted, too unwilling to walk away. She didn't know me at all. As the door closed behind me, it felt like stepping into open air after being locked in a stifling room. Outside, the evening sun bathed the parking lot in golden light. It was calm, quiet, and for the first time in a long while, I felt the same inside. This hadn't been impulsive. Every choice I made had been intentional. Every step planned. That key left behind, it was the final trace of me in that life. Everything else, cut clean. She wouldn't be able to call me. Wouldn't know where I'd gone. That, too, was by design. I sat in my car, took one last glance at the building that had housed both our laughter and our unraveling. So many moments lived there. Quiet mornings, shared dinners, inside jokes. But they had faded, eroded by a growing emptiness. That home had been made of trust and honesty, not drywall and furniture. And those things were gone. My phone lit up again. Another update. Amelia Carter, tagged in a photo at the retreat. I let out a soft chuckle. She truly believed she'd gotten away with everything. Probably lounging beside a pool with a cocktail in hand, shooting me vague check-ins while sneaking off to be with him. She still thought she was in control. That I was right where she left me, waiting, But I had left that role behind. Completely. And she was about to find out how thoroughly. I drove to my new place, a modest one-bedroom filled with light and silence. A space that was entirely mine. No shadows of betrayal hiding in corners. No lies echoing through the walls. The lease was in my name only. The key felt solid and certain in my palm. As I stepped inside, I knew this was more than a new location. It was me, reclaiming my life. Later that night, while I unpacked, my phone buzzed. A text from her. Thinking of you. Hope your weekend's great. Can't wait to catch up when I'm back. Love you. The sheer boldness made me laugh aloud. She was likely still at the pool, feet in the water, sending that message to keep up her charade. Still convinced I was in the dark. I didn't respond. There was no reason to. Her illusion was about to fall apart, and I didn't need to lift a finger. I shut off my phone, poured myself a glass of whiskey, and sank into the couch. For the first time in what felt like forever, I felt still. Free. Whole. I had always been her anchor, the one constant she never questioned. Dependable. Predictable. She reached the apartment door, already drafting a casual message in her head to send me later, something light, something vague to cover her quiet weekend. But as soon as she stepped inside, something shifted. Her fingers hesitated over her phone. The silence was unnatural. Heavy. The air felt oddly empty, like it had been untouched for days. There was no trace of my scent. No familiar warmth in the room. The walls looked bare, stripped of life. She walked in slowly, leaving her suitcase by the door. A strange pressure settled in her chest. The living room looked nearly the same, but it wasn't. The couch remained, but somehow felt unfamiliar. The coffee table was clear, no magazines scattered across it, no half-finished drink or remote tossed aside. The blanket I always used for late-night movies? Gone. A nervous laugh slipped from her lips as she turned toward the bedroom, calling out my name, Lucas, as if I might jump out with a grin, revealing some elaborate joke. But the quiet swallowed her voice whole. The stillness wasn't playing along. Her heart thudded harder as she reached the bedroom, and the truth slammed into her like a wave. The closet was nearly stripped bare. My shirts, jackets, the spotless sneakers I kept lined up in the corner, all missing. The nightstand drawer where I kept my keys and wallet? Empty. The framed photo of us she'd glanced at just days ago? Gone. Panic bloomed as she bolted to the bathroom, flinging open cabinets and drawers. Nothing remained. My razor, my toothbrush, even the aftershave she used to tease me about, it had all vanished. She stumbled back, breath ragged, mind spinning. Grabbing her phone, she scrolled frantically through our messages, searching for any clue, any hint that this wasn't real. No new texts. No missed calls. Her fingers trembled as she called my number. 1 ring. 2. Then voicemail. This can't be happening, she whispered, dialing again. Voicemail. Again. A deep chill crept into her chest as she rushed into the kitchen, rummaging through stacks of mail, hoping to find anything with my name on it. A bank statement. A delivery notice. Anything. But there was nothing. I hadn't just packed up. I had erased myself. Gripping the counter to steady her shaking knees, she looked around. The place felt foreign now. Like someone else's apartment. Her breath came short. Unsteady. She opened our old text thread, rereading the last one I sent just a few days earlier. Need anything from the store? So ordinary. So completely me. The steady presence she'd always known would be there. But I wasn't. And now that absence pressed against her like a weight she couldn't lift. She tried calling again. Straight to voicemail. Then she typed a message, short, panicked. Lucas, what's going on? Please call me. She stared at the screen, hoping for a reply. A sign. A lifeline. Nothing. The message just sat there, silent, unanswered. She wasn't used to being ignored. She had always found ways to twist situations in her favor, to hold the narrative. But this was unfamiliar terrain. She tore through the apartment in a frenzy, opening drawers, yanking open cabinets, checking under the bed, hoping for something, anything, that I had missed. But the conclusion was inescapable. I hadn't just left. I had scrubbed myself clean from her world. Even the streaming services no longer worked under my account. The lease had only her name now. She was alone. And it hit her, not just as guilt, but as a sharp, undeniable truth. I had known. I had watched. And I had waited, long enough to make sure she couldn't stop me. She collapsed onto the couch, burying her face in her hands, trying to make sense of it. All those times I'd stayed quiet. When I didn't argue, didn't react. She thought it was passivity. It was preparation. Her phone vibrated, and her heart leapt, but it wasn't me. Just Mia, her friend, oblivious to the implosion. "Hey, how was your trip?" Mia chirped, bright and cheerful. "Fine," Amelia answered, her voice flat, numb. Mia chatted on, mentioning coffee plans, maybe a concert next week, but Amelia's eyes were fixed on the bare walls, the hollow corners of the space. The tight knot in her stomach twisted. "Lucas is gone," she said abruptly, cutting Mia off. There was a pause. "Gone? What do you mean gone?" Amelia's grip on the phone tightened. "I mean everything's gone. He took his stuff, shut off the accounts. It's like he never even lived here." Her voice cracked at the end. Mia sucked in a breath. "So, he knows." Amelia didn't respond. Saying it out loud would make it real. Instead, she stared around at the sterile silence, louder than any fight they'd ever had. I hadn't yelled, hadn't slammed doors or left angry messages. I had simply left. On purpose. Mia's tone softened. "This is serious." "No kidding," Amelia muttered, scrolling through our chat thread again. But there was nothing. Only silence where I used to be. "Maybe he just needs space," Mia offered gently. Amelia gave a hollow laugh. This wasn't a snap decision. He planned this. He waited until I was gone. He knew I couldn't stop him. Mia hesitated. "So, what now?" Amelia stood and began to pace, her steps restless and uneven. "I have to find him. I need to talk to him. He can't just vanish like this. He owes me that much." Mia's response came quiet, but firm. "Maybe he doesn't." The words hit like a slap. "What?" "Maybe Lucas realized he didn't owe you anything anymore. Maybe he finally got tired. Maybe he knew nothing was going to change." Amelia's stomach twisted. I was the solid one, she thought. The foundation. I wasn't supposed to leave. Then her phone vibrated again. A new notification. Her breath caught as she tapped the screen. Message failed to send. "You've been blocked." Her vision blurred. Her fingers went numb. I hadn't just walked away. I wasn't looking back.